This time we're going to resume the meeting of May 4th, 2015. Mr. Richmond, if you'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Clower?
Here.
Councilmember Gomez?
Here.
Mayor Velasquez?
Here.
Councilmember Friend?
Present.
Councilmember Luna?
Present.
City Manager Rivera?
Present.
City Attorney Ravella?
Present.
Chief of Police Westrick?
Present.
And the record will show City Clerk Jerry Johnson absent.
Thank you very much. Verification of agenda posting.
The agenda for the City Council of the City of Hollister regular meeting of May 4th, 2015 was posted on the bulletin board at City Hall on April 29th, 2015 at 12:10 p.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Thank you very much. Tonight we have 3 proclamations: Stroke Awareness Month, Tourism Week, Buddy Poppy Days. First one we'll do is a stroke awareness. Whereas stroke affects approximately 800,000 Americans every year, and TIA's, transient ischemic attack, affects another 500,000 per year. Now therefore, Ignacio Velasquez, Mayor of the City of Hollister, do hereby proclaim May 2015 as Stroke Awareness Month in the City of Hollister. You guys say a few words?
I'm Dr. Stephen Shear. I'm the new medical director of the emergency department at Hazel Hawkins, and May is National Stroke Awareness Month, where we try and align our local programs with the national programs of stroke awareness, stroke treatment, and stroke delivery to stroke centers. So Hazel Hawkins is actively involved in becoming the highest quality stroke center it can be. And Wendy Bell is our stroke coordinator. I'll let her say a few words.
We have several activities planned for the month of May. One of the key components of stroke awareness is community education. On May the 6th and May the 28th, we're going to do some blood pressure checks in the lobby of the hospital. So we want the community to come by, check their blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, it's a very high risk for stroke, and learn more about the signs and symptoms of stroke. So I hope more people will come. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys coming out. Very important. The next one we'll do is for travel, the tourism industry. Who's representing? Whereas travel has a positive effect on the City of Hollister and the County of San Benito and the nation's economic prosperity and image abroad. It also impacts business productivity and individual travelers' well-being. Now therefore, I, Ignacio Velasquez, Mayor of the City of Hollister, do hereby proclaim May 2nd through the 10th, 2015 as National Travel and Tourism Week in the City of Hollister, and urge the citizens of the community to join me in the special observance of the positive impact of tourism on the economy, vitality of Hollister and San Benito County.
Thank you, Mayor Velasquez and members of City Council. My name is Dawnette Carter, and I serve as the CEO for Bellato Park Events Center and the San Benito County Fair. And we appreciate the celebration of tourism here in our community. That's what National Tourism and Travel and Tourism Week is all about, is celebrating what tourism travel does for the economic vitality of communities across the United States. And I can tell you that in the last 2 weeks alone at Bellato Park Event Center, with the Blacksmith Convention and the dog show that we recently had, We had over 1,500 visitors from across the United States and also from Canada and from England. So definitely tourism is a benefit. When you look at the statistics, that is $124 a day per spending according to Visit California in any community when someone is visiting throughout the United States. Just those days alone, I could say we definitely had some folks who had a financial impact, and we heard that positive back as well from our local restaurants and some other stores. So thank you again for supporting travel and tourism.
Hi, I'm Bruce. I'm Bruce Lewis. I'm on behalf of the San Benito Business Council. I want to thank you for recognizing the National Tourism Week. And for the first time in a long time, the city has really stepped up to the plate and financially helped tourism in our area. And we want to thank you for that. Our city and county both benefit from tourism business. We have much to offer without interrupting our lifestyle. Tourists can share in our fun as well as visit amazing parks, national, state, county, and regional parks and sites, including special events with our city. As I've said before, I do not see any for locals only signs in the windows of our many downtown businesses and city businesses. This will bring money into our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next, we'll do the Buddy Poppies. Whereas the annual distribution of Buddy Poppies by the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States has been officially recognized and endorsed by government leaders since 1922. Now therefore, I, Ignacio Velasquez, Mayor of the City of Hollister, hereby proclaim May 15th and 16th, 2015 as Buddy Poppy Days in the City of Hollister, and urge the residents of this community to recognize the merits of the cause by contributing generously to its support through the purchase of Buddy Poppies on these days set aside for the distribution of these symbols of appreciation for the sacrifices of our honored dead. I urge all patriotic citizens to wear Buddy Poppy as mute evidence of our gratitude to the men and women of this country who have risked their lives in defense of the freedoms which we continue to enjoy as American citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you, council members here. My name is Dolly DeVassier. I'm president of the Ladies Auxiliary Veterans to Foreign Wars. And every year we go out and collect for our relief fund for the veterans, and we help all the veterans, for example, even locally, but in Palo Alto and Menlo Park, and also Yountville, the home for the retired veterans. And this year we're going to do it the 15th and 16th, which is Friday and Saturday. We're mostly around the stores like Rite Aid and the Safeway and the post office. And we were at Nob Hill, but last year they kicked us out, so hopefully they let us back in this time. And so, anyway, hopefully we make it good this year. And thank you very much again.
Thank you very much. All right, let's move forward with the consent resolution. Are there any items that the council would like to pull? No items? Are there any speaker cards on any of the items?
No, Mr. Mayor.
I make
Okay.
a motion that we approve items A1 through A9.
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries, 5-0 vote. There's no business on B. C, public input. This is the time for anyone in the audience to speak on any item not on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name and city for the record, and speak to the city council. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Please note that state law prohibits the city council from discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards?
Robin Pollard.
Good evening. My name is Robin Pollard. I live up on Park Hill. I think I know most of you. I've come tonight to ask about the sign. The Park Hill sign is incorrect, and I'm wondering if this is a permanent change, or did you just go off Google Maps, or was it an oversight, or... I know you can't answer me, but I would really like to know. I also want to thank you for all the work you've been doing in our local parks. It's nice to see them being maintained and improved. I understand that there's big things happening up on Park Hill, and I'm not sure what they are, but I'm hoping that the neighborhood is notified so that we can all have input into whatever is happening up there. And let's see. The commission, the Parks and Rec Commission has a plan for Park Hill that doesn't seem to be implemented in the things that are happening up there. So you spent a lot of money to buy that plan, even though you could pick and choose the parts of it. It would be nice if the plan was somewhat followed. And lastly, Wednesday is Silicon Valley Gives, and REACH, our local San Benito County Parks and Rec Foundation, is on the list for donations. So if you want to help your local parks, all you people out there in TV land, which is where I watch you guys, give to your local parks. Keep our place green. There's no timer. Okay, one last thing. A community's health is directly related to the green space and recreation it provides. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Julie Vieira.
Julie Vieira, President and CEO of the San Benito County Chamber, Hollister. As you know, the San Benito County Chamber of Commerce has been the coordinator of the San Benito County Horse Show Parade for many years. This year, the parade will be held on June 25th, starting at 6 p.m. down San Benito Street. The Chamber has researched our records going back several years, and it seems there never was a Grand Marshal, or maybe it was stopped for some reason. Either way, the Board of Directors agreed this would be a fantastic year to have our first Grand Marshal and start a new tradition. Sorry, you missed that meeting. And what better person than Jerry Johnson to be the groundbreaking Grand Marshal for the San Benito County Saddle Horse Show Parade for 2015. So I called Jerry, and she kept telling me no, she wasn't going to be here tonight. So I know she's watching, though. So Jerry, congratulations. The Chamber is honored to have you as our 2015 San Benito County Saddle Horse Show Grand Marshal, and you keep trying to get away, but we keep pulling you back. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Marty Richmond.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Marty Richmond from Hollister. About a year ago, I encouraged the San Benito County Board of Supervisors to level the playing field by putting in a general sales tax, 1%, similar to what we have, and that's almost close to what San Juan Bautista has in the unincorporated areas of the county. And I was given two reasons they wouldn't do it or couldn't do it. One was they said there's not much money involved, and the second one is that they could not legally make that a tax district. Well, things have changed. The law changed last June, coming on a year now, where they could make the unincorporated area a tax district, but they've taken no action doing so. Their tax advisor, not somebody I hired, their tax advisor, financial advisor, came in and announced that 40% of the taxable sales in this county occur in the non-incorporated areas of the county. So obviously, there is a lot of money involved. When I did the calculation, it turns out to be about between $2.5 and $3 million, if those figures are accurate, and I expect the financial advisor knows. So I'm still not getting anywhere. The Board of Supervisors would like us to join them in putting on a special tax for the roads. But when they are asked to bring the unincorporated areas of the county up to the level that Hollister's taxing and up to the approximate level that San Juan Bautista is taxing, they refuse to do it. That's not fair. We have pockets in Hollister of county residents all over Hollister. You all know that. And for one person to be paying $350 more for a car in the city, and the person next to them, in the house next to them, to be paying $350 less because they live in the county, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, $2.5 and $3 million a year is a lot of money, and much of the county money comes from people traveling through. So there is simply no reason for them not to do this. I encourage you to act as a body, pass a resolution in the future, take it to the Intergovernmental Committee, and say that we want to know that the residents in the unincorporated areas are as serious about supporting the county as the poorer residents in Hollister. The folks in the unincorporated areas, bless their hearts, I hope they're always successful, have got about $20,000 to $30,000 a year more in median income than the folks in Hollister. And it's simply unconscionable that they are refusing to pay the tax, and that the Board of Supervisors is acting like a bunch of cowards too afraid to go and ask them for the money because they don't want to be told no and lose a vote. So I appreciate it. Hopefully in the future you will take action on this item. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There are no more speakers.
All right. Let's move forward to item D1. Presentation from tourism.
Julie Vieira, and I am the President and CEO of the Chamber again. This is the last time you'll see me tonight. This is my report. Travel is a $117 billion industry in California alone. It is responsible for over 1 million California jobs with earnings of $38 billion. Travel spending in 2014 generated $4.3 billion in local tax revenues and $5.2 billion in state tax revenues. Pinnacles National Park had over 200,000 visitors in the past 12 months. In February 2015, the Chamber was given the task of administering and developing a tourism plan. This is a short overview of what has been accomplished in the last 3 months. 3 promotional and press tours began March 13th. Approximately 200 hours were spent visiting local destination spots within the county, and 3 tours. 29 destinations were visited. 22 restaurants, bakeries were dined, chefs and owners interviewed. 57 business owners, general managers, and locals were interviewed. Those interviews will be either for print, radio spots, or both. 4 wineries were visited, and some of those wineries were visited by more than one writer. 14 radio interviews were completed. Each interview will be available for those business owners and the Chamber to use on their websites and for other advertising venues. 25 hours spent hiking, photographing, and interviewing Pinnacles National Park staff and visitors. The Chamber also entered into a 1-year marketing package with Big Blend magazine and radio in April of 2015. The 2 writers for Big Blend have a combined 45 years of experience in travel, tourism, retail, hospitality, entertainment, marketing, and multimedia publishing and production. I have attached their information to your packets that you have. Big Blend has already completed the following. On April 3rd, Linda Kassam, writer for the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association, was interviewed for 50 minutes about her visit to San Benito County. Their April 19th radio show was a 3-hour show, was all on San Benito County. The interviews included Pinnacles National Park, owners of Joshua Inn Bed and Breakfast, Jamie Noon of Pietrasanta, 4 other destinations, and myself. April 20th radio show included their interview with Pinnacles Condor expert. April 3rd radio show will feature Josh Jensen of Calera Wines and other interviews from San Benito County business owners. June and July issues of the Spirit of America magazine, featuring stories about the 407 national parks, will include several articles about San Benito County destinations focusing on Pinnacles National Park. Susan Montgomery, a writer for the International Food, Wine, and Travel Writers Association, wrote a fabulous article, and I think Guy sent that link to all of the councilmen. It is available on Bonito Link. It's available on the Chamber's Facebook page and several websites, including Life Uncorked. The Visitor Bag Program. It has been, we can't keep up with the requests from Bellato Park. The visitor bags are have stuff from local businesses, including coupons, restaurant menus, event information, and all swag from San Benito County. To date, we've given out over 500 of these bags, and Bill from Bill's Bullpen came into the office to express to me that he had 3 new customers just from the visitor bags that had been handed out. So we know they're working. In March, the Chamber issued an RFP to several local marketing, communication, and web companies to develop a tourism website and collateral. Redbeard Communications was selected to complete the task with a rollout date of June. On April 24th, the Chamber posted a part-time position to hire a tourism assistant, which will allow the tourism portion of the Chamber to expand over the next year. And the site map for the website is also attached to your packet. On April 28th, I made a presentation to the San Benito County Board of Supervisors, asking them to contribute funds from the EDC towards tourism efforts. I have supplied the Board of Supervisors with follow-up information as requested. I haven't heard anything back. I have included in your packet of information several items, including the site map for the website, a copy of the visitor guide, of which over 6,000 have been distributed to local tourist destinations, and another 2,000 will be distributed to surrounding chambers of commerce and Visitors Bureau next week. We have also partnered with Monterey Zoo to have the visitor guides in their guest shop and in each of their little huts that they rent out. There will be one in each of them. B&R Farms has taken the initiative to put the San Benito County Visitor Guide in each of their online orders, and they ship all over the world. And our hope is to get other businesses to follow suit. So this is a very short overview of the progress made for local tourism, thanks to the City Council's foresight. I encourage the City Council to consider their continued support of the tourism effort as you go into the 2015-2016 budget meetings and make it a topic of discussion. The additional funds will be used for Phase 2 of the marketing plan, which is the bright orange. I made it so that you guys wouldn't miss it. So that is Part 2 of the marketing plan. A rough draft of Phase 2 would look like the attached. And also attached is an Excel spreadsheet of the original $50,000 and where those funds have gone. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friend?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. When we allocated the money, we asked for this, and you delivered an explanation as to where the dollars went, and also it's plain to see from the book and from the conversations I had with the visitors that you've been doing a bang-up job as far as what we asked you to do for tourism. Am I understanding correctly that the county and the city of San Juan have not offered any funding for this at all?
No. That's why I made the presentation last week to the Board of Supervisors. And my next step is to the City Council of San Juan Bautista.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Luna?
Yes, thank you, Julie. I enjoy reading this, and I did pick it up at Bellotto Park when I was there the other day. I don't see anything here. I read about Cienega Road and the wineries, but I don't see anything there about Indian Canyon. I visited Indian Canyon last year with a group of students that we took out there. There were people from out of state, from Utah, Arizona, Nevada, Northern California. We even had a problem parking and to take our young people, our students from San Bernardino County. And yet we were among so many visitors to the canyon from out of state. But yet I don't see anything here.
That visitor's guide was started back in August, and we asked several people to contribute, and we made all kinds of calls. So it's the information that we received and what we could put together for it, because it had drug on so long we needed to get a deadline. We realize everything isn't in there, but it's a start. So going forward, we will have more information about our county and other things in the visitor's guide. But I do realize that that isn't in there. We're missing, other things in there, but this was a start. And as far as the funds that we had available, this is what we could do. Because at the time that went to print, we hadn't received the $50,000.
Okay, I look forward to seeing something on Indian Canyon.
Okay.
Councilmember Gomez?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Julie. We appreciate the presentation and the report back out. Initially, when, I'm not going to lie to you, initially when I proposed this idea to the council last year to support tourism funding, I was hoping it would be on an annual, at that time, we could do it on an annual ongoing basis. So I hope we could have that discussion. I know it was supported last year as one-time funding from the council, but and if we need to review it annually, I'm fine with that. But I'm completely supportive, obviously, of continuing the funding. Quick question: What kind of outreach have we done in the Bay Area? And the reason I ask is because the other day I went to San Juan Bautista. Yesterday I went to San Juan Bautista, and I was there maybe till like around 1 o'clock, something like that, for their festival that they had there. And then obviously I have soon to have 2 teenagers, so they wanted to go to the mall. And so we jumped on 101 to go up to San Jose, and it was ridiculous, the traffic. None of it was coming from San Benito County. It was in San Benito County. They were stuck in 7 miles of traffic in San Benito County, yet they stayed on the highway the whole entire time. So most of that traffic, obviously, is coming out of the Bay Area, the South Bay, and throughout the Bay Area. So what do you folks have in mind, if you haven't done so already? What do you have in mind, an outreach to the South Bay? I know not a lot of people read newspapers these days.
Right.
Most of the stuff is online, but
Right.
but we do have, obviously, Dan, who's the owner of the freelance, obviously owns San Jose Inside, the Metro, and a lot of those newspapers out there in the Bay Area. Have we tapped into those resources?
We will. We need something for them to be able to go to.
Okay.
We can't start advertising without the website and something for
Absolutely.
them to go to. So we do have radio spots both on Spanish stations and English stations that will start running once the website's up. We have several other articles and different things that will be rolling out. Our visitor guides are going to be going out to other areas also. But until we get the website up, we really can't do any outreach because there's nothing for them to go back to look things
Yeah, they
up
need
for.
a point of reference, absolutely.
Yeah.
When do you anticipate that being completed?
The website is supposed to be completed in June, and then all the collateral, all the print and everything that, we have 2 articles or 2 ads that can be used both online, on websites, in print that are being designed by Redbeard also. So those will go in several different publications. Then they will also be online, and we will also be doing radio spots. So we have a whole plan, but we've got to get our base first, which is the website done first to
Absolutely.
draw people to.
Yeah, no, makes sense. And this isn't a question, more of a comment. If I held my breath waiting for the county to do anything, I wouldn't be alive right now. So
Councilman Rivas came in and joined the chamber. So he came in Saturday with a blank check and joined the chamber after the presentation last week. Supervisor Rivas. And he was with Councilman Clower, so he's my witness.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, the question is why he barely joined the chamber, but okay, that's fine. So hopefully it will be a bright sign of things to come for the county. But and I'm very happy that you made that presentation to them, because it's nice to. I've made that pitch to them directly as supervisors, and it's gotten nowhere for the past year or so. But then again, I'm probably not the best presenter to those folks.
Maybe
so,
they like me better.
Yeah, I'm sure you did a much better
We'll try.
job. Yeah.
That's all we can do is try.
Absolutely. Thank you, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
Councilmember Clower?
Yes, thank you very much, Julie. This was an insightful presentation for sure. Sometimes it can be, when you're looking at a plan, it's just kind of abstract, but then when you get the visitor's guide in your hand, it's a little bit more exciting, at least to me. I agree with Councilmember Gomez that I think we need to continue to invest, and just as somebody who does a little bit of advertising for my own account, the first time you see it, it doesn't really make much of an impact, but
7 times.
you got to see it over and over, and each time that people see it, it makes more of an impact, and you're more likely to get a return. So I'm kind of hoping that we'll keep doing that. And we kind of hammer on the supervisors a lot, but we can't really wait for other people to do things for us. And I think we just got to keep doing it ourselves, and hopefully everybody will come around and join the group.
Yes, and I invite you all to join the chamber. I'd be more than happy to take your checks. So if anybody else has any questions?
I just wanted to thank you for all the work you've done. I'm pleased to hear you're working with Redbeard. They're top-notch.
Local.
Right across
Trying
the
to
street
keep it
from us
local.
here.
Mm-hmm.
They really know what they're doing. The funding was to come from the TOT tax. The hope was we were going to raise it to 12% from 8%, so we can collect about $130,000, I believe, that we were going to, between the city and the county, we were going to all pitch in. So I think it's important that the public understands that that tax was something the tourism or the tourists pay when they stay at a hotel. So they're basically paying us for the privilege of being here. Then we use that money, turn it around, advertise so more tourism comes in. That's the goal. Is there a plan to help us get this TOT tax increase for the next election cycle? I think the public needs to understand what we're trying to do here.
I think the public needs to understand what TOT stands for. On the last ballot, I don't think a lot of people, they thought it was going to be on their property taxes or something else. They didn't understand
Right,
what it
and that's
was.
what
We
I
have to
think
do a better job.
We have to do a better job, but I think
Yes.
part of what we need to see from your organization is a plan so the public is informed about what we're trying to do to bring in
Right.
more tourism.
Right, and that, if you'll read in Phase 2, that spells it out to educate our local residents, and it's on the bright orange. And that is part of the next phase. This has just been 3 months. We only got it in February,
Right.
so we've crammed a lot into 3 months. But that is Phase 2, is we have to make our city and county aware of what we have here. You go into a restaurant, and I hear it 9 times out of 10. Somebody asks a waitress or a waiter, what is there to do in this town? They say, nothing, or I don't know. So we need to educate our community on what we have, and that tourism brings dollars in, and that's where the money is that's coming from, is a TOT tax. But we have to explain to them what TOT stands for.
Here's your chance.
Okay.
One other item. I think we need to have maybe a short video clip. Maybe the high school media club can put that together of all the things there are to do in Hollister, San Benito County. So we're posting that on Facebook or the other social media sites, and that spreads around. So when people say there's nothing to do in Hollister or
Right.
San Benito County, we send them the clip themselves so they.
And all of those clips that Big Blend did are available to anybody to put on their websites. So as soon as we get the website up, all of those videos that they did at the different destinations will be available on the website, and we can put them on Facebook, and we can use them for all of that. And there's about 14 of those videos already.
And so people, so they understand TOT means transient occupancy tax. It's a tax you pay when you stay in a hotel. And if we can take that from 8% to 12%, that gives us more money to advertise, and that's what that money will be used for, is to promote our community so we have more tourism, more money, more advertising, more tourism. So we need the public's help to understand how important it is to get the word out. But
Right.
thank you for the job you've done so far.
Welcome. Any other?
Are there any speaker cards? Any?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Let's move forward with item D2, City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just kind of wanted to report on the fact that staff is looking into the situation on Vista Park Hill on the signage up there, and as soon as we get something back, I'll make sure that we come and let you know what the outcome of that research was. So.
Okay, I appreciate that. Item E, no business. Item F1.
Thank you, Mayor. Staff is going to request that the item be continued until the May 18th meeting for the second reading. As you know, there's been some recommended changes to the language in the ordinance. At this point, I will be honest and say I believe that making changes to the extent that some of them have been requested would really sort of be disingenuous to the process of adopting an ordinance, and probably would create a situation where we'd actually have to go back and do a first reading. But until I get done with the actual amendments and take a much closer look and have legal take a closer look at it, I won't actually know that. But my gut feeling is right now is that I may come back to you on May 18th and have you kind of remove take action to sort of dissolve the first reading, and I will come back with a completely new first reading and second reading on the ordinance. And we do have a presentation for some of those folks that are interested on Thursday at our fire committee meeting on the process. So that's where that stands. So the staff's recommendation is to continue it till May 18th.
Do you need,
Need a motion?
Councilmember?
I think we need a motion.
Motion to table it.
I'll make the motion that we table this until the May 18th meeting.
Second.
Before we take a vote on that, are there any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, there's a first and a second. Is there in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against?
Aye.
Okay. Table passes. Motion 3-2 vote. Move forward to item F2.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. This resolution would authorize staff or the submittal of a claim to the San Benito County Council of Governments for use of local transportation funds and regional surface transportation program funds. The funding would be in support of an application that we've been authorized by you to pursue for active transportation program funding. The Caltrans released a call for projects in late March, and we went to training in early April. The purpose of this funding is to increase pedestrian and bicycle trips, safety and mobility of non-motorized users, enhance public health, safe routes to schools, and ensure that disadvantaged communities share in benefits of the program. The proposal that is being packaged would prioritize safe routes to school improvements at Aro Hardin and Calaveras schools, which are both economically disadvantaged schools, and onto San Juan Road, which would, with components of the West Gateway streetscape beautification plan. The improvements on Sandwood Road would primarily be, they would be selected, and they would be to provide mobility for persons trying to use transit stops. There's sections of the corridor there where it's almost over 1,000 feet between when there's a safe crossing. So some curb extensions, some of the median improvements and landscaping would improve safety for pedestrians. The resolution also would authorize submittal of a claim for funding to assist with the gateway sign at the west entrance to Hollister with a gateway to our Pinnacle National Park. We're recommending that you approve Resolution 2015-86. Are there any questions?
Any questions from council? Any speaker cards?
Marty Richmond?
Marty Richard from Hollister. I support this program as written, but I'd like to ask the council in their furtherage of this program to consider adding some things. First of all, the West Side desperately needs to get their roads fixed. They desperately need to get their pedestrian walkways fixed. It's the first thing people coming in from that side see. I also note that for 4 years I've been asking, where are the signs at the turnoff that say business this way, rooming this way, gasoline this way? I mean, you go even along the highway, if you're going past Marina, you can see those at the turnoff, you know, those blue informational signs. There's no reason, and if we can't get Caltrans to put them there, then we ought to just buy a little plot of land or rent it right next to, across the street there, because there's plenty of private land right at the Union Road as you approach there, and point to the west side and say, here's where you can get off, because people who are going by don't know. They don't see any, you can't see anything from there. You don't see one business, so you don't know, for all you know, that's a road that goes out in the farm somewhere. If you tell them that they can get off there and get taken care of, then they will do so. That's one item we need, and we need this desperately on the roadway. The other items we need, you could do, they're only transportation related in the fact that they have to do with the visual impact of getting off there. There is no reason that we should have chain link fences that are not, don't have a visual screen on them, so that we're looking through the chain link fence at some mess inside there. I understand some of those businesses have been there for some time. Doesn't matter to me. They have an obligation to keep the place looking good. And so if you're in that kind of a business, whatever that business is, that requires you to just park trucks out on the sandy straight over there, you ought to do something, and you got a chain link fence around it. You ought to put something on the chain link fence to give the eye a better look, because it's better. You know, we don't put our dirty laundry on the front. Everybody has dirty laundry. Nobody puts it out on the front lawn. That's not where you put your dirty laundry. You put it out in the back, or you wash it, so you hide it. So there are lots and lots of things we can do. And finally, and this really frustrates me, we've talked 100 times about bike pass. I don't bike myself. I support bike pass because it's a good way to get around, no pollution. And then we keep approving projects for developmental projects, and we don't demand that they put a bike path in the new road because they want to, and this is not I understand they're just, you know, the developers are human. You give an opportunity, they're going to jam as many houses as they can get in there in the space. It's our job to say, hey, if you want to make this space more acceptable to this city, then you need to design the bike paths in, because once they jam it full of houses, you come along 5 years later, there's nowhere to put a bike path. There's simply no room. So you've got to design that in. So it's kind of silly to put bike paths on the roadway and then approve new housing projects that don't have any, and then you're going to come back and try to put it in there later, and it's not going to work. The same thing goes with the linear park aspect. And I know I'm getting a little bit off the subject here, but it all has to do with making it easy for us to improve the access for the commuters, access for the pedestrians, so they can live together and like where they are. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Any comments? Councilmember Luna?
Actually, I don't have a question, just Mary, clarification. We have the $429,000 as projected costs, right?
Yes, from
Yeah.
the,
Okay.
that's one of the, that's from the city's allocation of the bicycle and pedestrian fund, correct?
Right, right. And because I represent the area, I've seen so many young people in bikes and even adults, but it's not very safe in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And even around Aro Hardin School in this area. So all that area is included in the plan, as
Right,
I
there's
understand.
2 safe routes to school plans, one for Aro Hardin and one for Calaveras. Those plans don't include bike paths, but the primary improvements for both those are, some of it is sidewalk infill that's already going to be occurring with infill development, but a lot of it is where they call it a curb extension,
Mhm.
where the curb extends out into the street, so it narrows the distance a pedestrian has to use to cross the street. It also crowds the intersection so that somebody driving a car it sort of forces them to slow down. That there's painting. We would like to have the permanent high visibility crosswalks. Also, some of the improvements were moving the stop line for the cars, because one of the complaints when they did the plan that they heard from parents and public input was that people were doing the California roll. So they didn't feel it was a safe intersection to cross through.
Do you foresee having any meetings with the neighborhood to inform them on what is possibly coming up so that they can be better informed?
We would love to have neighborhood meetings, especially as part of this grant or
Right.
funding submittal. We would like that for the West Gateway improvements. One of the criteria for the funding is accidents. And there isn't a high record of accidents on San Juan Road, but the speed limit is 45 miles per hour. And I think
Right.
if we can hear from the public, any concerns they have about safety. We've also wondered if there's some underreporting of accidents in that part of our community, because census data indicates that there's the percent of the population in our county that doesn't speak English
Right.
is higher there, or their ability to speak, they're not as comfortable with it based
Right.
on, for people that are 5 years and older.
Yeah, and the communication, a lot of people are not seeing this tonight. A lot of people are not reading the local newspaper. But when you do have these community district meetings to inform the community, their neighborhoods, I think it's a real plus for the city and the residents of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. One comment also, we received word today that the City Council and the County Board of Supervisors and City of San Juan Bautista authorized funding over a year ago for a wayfinding sign plan. And we'll be getting pretty close to our final draft tomorrow, we think. And that addresses some of the comments that Mr. Richmond had about providing directional signing from the highways to route people through our communities.
Perfect. Okay. Any other questions from council?
I make a motion that we approve 2015-86.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0 vote. Thank you very much. Item F3.
Thank you, Mayor. This is my favorite item ever. This is a recommendation from staff to cancel the first meeting in July. That would be July 6th of 2015. Usually preparation for the city council occurs the week or so prior to the meeting. This particular week with the rally, it's always a little bit hectic for department heads and whatnot because we're all getting ready for that. So recommendation is to cancel again this first meeting in July.
All right. Are there any questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, 5-0 vote. Move forward to item G1, reports from city council members regarding their committees. Councilmember Luna?
Actually, I was not able to attend the gang task force meeting because I was out of town.
Okay. Councilmember Friend?
I did go to the gang task force meeting, and a lot of action was discussed. The big one was on May 20th or 21st. God, terrible. May 21st, they're having a citywide symposium at the Vets Building on drugs and
It's May 20th.
May 20th, huh? Okay,
It's
thank you,
called
Jim.
Above the Influence.
Anyhow, and that's the, to inform people about the situation in San Benito County about drugs and how parents can observe their children and know what they're doing by learning how to detect if the children are using drugs or not, and what to do about it. The other committee that I met on was, we had an emergency meeting, a special meeting of the fire committee, and we talked about and came up with a draft contract for the firefighting for the county, for the city employees to fight fires in the county. So that should be coming, I would think, the first meeting in June probably, or maybe the 18th of May, to the city council for approval once we have another meeting with the team and make a recommendation.
With the fire committee?
With the fire committee, yes.
Okay.
That's the only two I have.
Okay. Councilmember Gomez?
No reports.
Councilmember Clower?
I do not have any meetings.
And I do not have any reports either. Let's move forward with item F2, informational reports from City Council. Councilmember Luna?
Yes, I attended Advocacy Day in Sacramento, and that's the reason I wasn't able to attend the gang task force meeting. There was many people there from throughout the state of California, different city councils, elected officials there on Advocacy Day. It was, I think everybody in the veteran organizations was there. It was nice. AARP, just many elected officials. One thing, I attended several sessions, hearings and sessions. It was very important, very informative. But you know, at the last meeting, we had a young woman come forward and address the city council regarding a youth council, to establish a youth council, a student council. And I spoke with several members of the city councils in other cities, and it seems like everybody has one already in place. So I really want to encourage this city council to move forward in establishment of the student or youth council, an advisory council to this council made up of students. I think it's very important. Their ideas, their building their leadership in the political arena is important, because after all, we got to look forward to tomorrow, and maybe these young people will be here in our places. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Friend?
Well, to continue on with what Councilmember Luna was saying, I did meet with the young lady about the youth council. She's gathering all the information from other youth councils so that we can come to the council probably in the next month with a recommendation on how that should be structured and who's going to be on that, and how we either appoint or ask for volunteers about that. We're just trying to gather all the other cities, and there is a lot of cities that have a city council or a youth council. So we should be seeing something fairly quickly on that. The other thing I wanted to mention, other than the meeting on the 20th about the family and drugs, that's put on by the school district, and it's free, and it's at the Vets Hall on the 20th, and I think it's 6 o'clock. Chief?
It is, yeah, and actually, all of us are sponsoring it, but yeah, it's a great event. Something that needs to be done.
And I know all the gang task force people are going to be there, so that's it for this meeting. I'll have some more next meeting.
Okay. Councilmember Gomez?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I want to say tonight is, and I know she's not here, but I didn't get a chance last time to say my thank yous to Jerry. I know she's still officially an employee for the next couple of weeks, but I want to thank Jerry Johnson for her 30 years of service with the city of Hollister. The first time I met Jerry was a little bit over 6 years ago, and I was this nervous guy walking into City Hall, not knowing what I was going to get myself into, trying to file papers to run for City Council, and Jerry put me at ease. So maybe I should be blaming her for being up here, but she was she's a great person, not just in the city as the face as you walk into to City Hall, because as you know, we much rather have Jerry up there than Billy in the front. But she's always been a friendly person to work with and work for as well. Obviously, very dedicated to her job as a clerk, and always kept things very, very tidy around here. And I think just observing things, she always kept everybody in check. She's an awesome individual and a great community member as well. I'm sure Christine, in the interim basis, is going to do an excellent job for us. Thank you, Christine, for stepping forward. But Jerry is an amazing member of our community. I'm glad to hear that she's going to be honored during our Saddle Horse Parade. But I hope that eventually the City Council could step up and do a lot more for Jerry to remember her years of service with the City of Hollister. Just to put it into perspective, because I was 5 years old when she started working for the City of Hollister. So excellent job, Jerry. Thank you so much for your years of service.
Councilmember Clower.
Yeah, first, I would like to just kind of let everybody know I went to the Beer and Wine Stroll on Saturday, which was an awesome event. It was very neat, and I'd like to kind of send out appreciation to all the volunteers and the vendors that were a part of that, and just recommend that next year everybody check it out. I think they sold more tickets this year, and hopefully they'll sell more next year and get more people involved, because that was really fun. And it was kind of neat to just pop into some businesses that I hadn't been to, and I've lived here my whole life, and I've known they're there, didn't know what they sold necessarily, but it was good experience. Second thing, just want to wish all the mothers out there happy Mother's Day. Thank you for everything that you guys do. You guys are a wonderful part of our lives, especially at least mine. And then toward the end of the month, it looks like we're going to be having the joint meeting with the high school district, and just kind of want to start getting the word out on that, because we do need the community's involvement and your opinion and your insight and your ideas. I think that there's a great opportunity as a community to kind of come together and really get a good benefit for not only the city, but the students and the county and everybody involved. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So look forward to that and hearing what everybody has to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Over the last couple of weeks, I met with the Adelante youth group, students from San Benito County that are active in the program and to help the community. They're learning a lot of leadership skills, a lot of great questions, a lot of great ideas. One of them in particular really wanted to come back and see how they could go and help the young ones in school. Third, second graders, help them learn to read and participate. So I really like that idea. They want to be involved with the youth group that we're talking about. Part of the media, one of them is part of the media club there in the high school. So a lot of great talent there. Exciting to hear from them and get them involved. I'd like to see if we can find out with the CDBG grant funds where we're at with those. And not only that, but how we can work with the county to make sure we're working together to know how the funds are being used and the timing. The timing is critical, as we all know. If we don't use them in time, we miss out on a cycle. And we had that conversation today at our homeless meeting, task force meeting. So trying to get that together. I don't know, we need to form another committee for that to make sure we're all clear where we're at on the spending on those grant funds, so we never miss a cycle between the city and the county. Because as we know, we miss one cycle and that really affects the community here. And a better partnership on that would help us quite a bit. I'm glad we're going to be meeting with the trustees from the high school. I'd like to see if we can set up a meeting with the supervisors also, the county supervisors, so we can talk about
A joint?
a joint
meeting?
A joint meeting with the supervisors. See if we can. I think the property tax issue is something we have to tackle. I've been asking the question. Mr. Richmond wrote a great story about property tax, and I find that nobody really knows the answer of exactly the amount of funds coming in or from what different district, how they're being applied to throughout. And I think this is actually something, I'm glad Mr. Richmond brought this up. I think it's something that happens throughout the state. A lot of times we think we know, but we're not 100% sure. I think it's time that we become 100% sure. I think it seems like an expert is needed to come in and really explain in detail the percentages collected, how much of that stays in the city, how much stays in the county, how much goes to San Juan Bautista, how much goes to the school districts. There's over 42 entities that are receiving part of that money, so we have to be clear on how that's being distributed. Also, I'd like to discuss the sales tax issue with the county to see if that's going to be an issue where we're going to partner with them to get our voters here in the city to help pass that sales tax so that it's a fair distribution, as again Mr. Richmond pointed out, that there's a percentage of our county that's not paying the same sales tax as the city, but that part of the county really needs those funds to fix their roads also. So it's back to the partnership. Also, maybe we can talk about partnerships with the parks. So I think it's time we have that joint meeting with the county.
Sounds like a week.
It probably is. It's almost a retreat, I have to say. But these are big issues that we need to tackle. We need to understand them clearly so we can start planning for the next year and the years down the road. Also wanted to thank Jerry Johnson. Jerry Johnson to me is Mrs. Lights On. I met her years ago, and her big thing back then was organizing Lights On, and she just was running up and down that San Benito Street back and forth, and the sweaters she would wear at the time. So thank you for all you've done, Jerry. We're going to miss you here at the city. Councilmember
I just
Frank?
want to let you know that, and Marty know, that Thursday at the Intergovernmental Committee, that it is on the agenda for that tax. So there will be a discussion about how that, like the mayor says, I'm not sure there'll be a discussion on how things are split out. And that, I agree with him. I don't think anybody knows how that is, but there will be a discussion about that tax.
Councilmember Luna?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. What can I say about Jerry Johnson? I mean, I worked with her for years, and I hope that somebody does what they did to me. They actually, the staff at City Hall walked me out to my car on the last day. And you know, it was emotional, but I was leaving part of my life behind because, you know, 30 years working for the city is a long, long time. And we all appreciate Jerry. We just can't say enough about Jerry and what she has done for this city. So I want to say that. And also, I want to mention that during the meeting on May 18th, I will not be present. My grandson is graduating in Arizona, so I will be there with my grandson and son family.
Okay.
Congratulations.
City Manager?
Thank you. As you talked about future meetings, let me start by saying next Monday, May 11th, I've asked there to be a study session. You all said that you were available to meet regarding reclaimed water. Jeff Catano from San Bernardino County Water District will provide you a report with the future of the reclaimed water. May 13th, we have kind of scheduled, at least at the staff level. We haven't talked to Christine or you folks yet about having maybe the first kickoff on the budget for fiscal year 2015-16. We'll see how that works out with everybody's schedule. If not, I think we're at a point now where we're ready to go. We have sort of a new format, I hope, planned for you to make the budget process even more simple than we've made it in the past. However, there is going to be some decisions that the council needs to make, so we want to make sure that we have a special time allotted for that. As Councilman Clower mentioned, May 26th, will be a special meeting with the high school district. Hopefully they can confirm. We've asked for that to be at the Vets Hall upstairs in room 204. A couple of agenda items will likely just be the Nash Road closure and possible other partnerships for recreational activities and whatnot with the high school. And then we move on into June, and if June, with everybody's budgets, depending on how they're going for both the city and the county, I'll start working with Ray Espinoza, the CAO over there, about potentially getting maybe a couple dates set aside for those for a joint council board meeting.
Billy, I'll be out of town the first 2 weeks of June.
Okay, then we'll go the second 2 weeks in June or somewhere. And then again, then it starts to roll into kind of the rally season. So we'll try to figure out when's a good time for everybody.
Okay.
I want to make sure that when we have those meetings, everybody is available. I think that is it. Oh, there was a mention about CDBG. I can just real briefly, we talk on a regular basis about that. The community services portion of CDBG, Havanas and the Community Food Bank, they have drawn down on their funds. The Youth Alliance has not yet to this point. And then as far as the construction with Community Food Bank, I think Mary is gone. Do you want to give, where are we at with them right now? There's a cart, horse, USDA
Right.
stuff, but go ahead.
That's part of it, is that there's a loan agreement, and as part of the loan agreement, they have to own the land.
Right.
And so there's a catch-22 there, and then also if you recall, we were ready to start drawing funds for the food bank and everything, and then the state issued a memo saying we had to diminish our program income before we could draw from the 2013 NOFA. So then we submitted the sidewalk application, and we kept being told, then we had to amend it because there was new census information for area of benefit, so we submitted an amendment. That was last November, and we just got our approval for the sidewalk project, I think, last week. And we kept being told, oh, we'll do it. And so it's
Right, now I
been
understand it.
federally slow.
It's the state, just so we're planning together and we realize
Right.
we're held up somewhere so we can strategize to make sure the county doesn't miss out on something else, so.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure that the council knows that we are on top of that.
Oh, I know you
constantly.
are,
So
yeah.
we don't want to miss that because we understand its importance as
Right.
well. So, I
But
think
we think that we'll have 50% spent. We hope, I think the food bank hopes to spend it all this year.
Yeah.
So we won't be
Okay.
with the 50% rule.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Velazquez. Just one housekeeping item, and that is prior to today's open session, the City Council met in closed session to discuss threat to public services or facilities, and there is nothing to report.
And just for the record, I recuse myself from that conversation.
And Mayor Velazquez was recused from the meeting and was governed by Vice Mayor Friend.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Chief?
Just a few things. Over the last week, Hollister PD has sworn in 3 officers. One that we sent to the academy, Officer Silvestri Irena, and 2 today we sworn in. One is actually both of them are veteran officers, Officer Masafumi Yamamoto and Officer Guadalupe Pompa. Both are starting actually immediately because of their veteran status. Officer Irena will be on FTO, our field training officer, for about 12 weeks. So that's a good news. It fills in some of the spots that we had open for so long. So that helps us out quite a bit. Second, I was at the Community Corrections Partnership meeting this morning, and with the BSCC, the Board of Community Corrections for the state, for our state prison system, who also run all AB 109 funding and will again do Proposition 47 funding as it comes into 2016. We as a group, presented a budget to the staff and the BSCC, and the budget was accepted. And of note, there are a number of programs that we will see this year in our community that will help us bring in some intervention into our community. But of note for the city of Hollister specifically, they have proposed and agreed to pay for a AB 109 compliance team. And in that team is one Hollister Police Department officer, position that they will fund completely with overtime. Right now it's in perpetuity because it's going to be part of the regular budget. So it'll be one other officer that we'll bring before the council, and we'll give you the details on that. But that's actually a really good thing. In our county, we have about 41 AB 109 folks, but also in that continuum, we have numerous folks that are on probation that also will need that service for compliance. So what we did was, with our budget, was formed a compliance team like many other counties do, and it will comprise of the existing UNET team that's already there, with a special piece with an AB 109 compliance team. Santa Clara County actually does this already, so we sort of followed what they did and applied it to the ratio of our population as well. So it's good news. Last thing is we've been talking to the San Benito County High School about their interest in asking for an SRO, and we've talked to them, and we'll bring something before the board on what the proposal is. We'll do that probably around the time of budget, so that'd be something of interest. We're trying to duplicate what we've done already with Hollister School District, and that will, if we're successful, we'll now have 3 SROs that we're paying about half price for. And the idea is that all the SROs would be trained exactly the same, so they would be utilized in sort of the same manner. And that's it.
Thank you very much. City Clerk?
Pursuant to AB 1234, City Clerk Johnson and I attended the City Clerk's Conference last week of April.
Okay, excellent. HIJK, there's no business.
Move for adjournment.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries 5-0 vote. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming out tonight.